Talk. Jazzy Jazzy After Dark presents Artist Talk. A live one-on-one conversation. 30 minutes of pure entertainment with musicians, writers, and actors to motivators, chefs, and even rappers to up-and-comers with the it factor. It's the Jazzy K Ward coming at ya. Jazzy After Dark. Artist Talk. Tune in, chime in, sit back, relax, have fun, some smiles, a few laughs. Tune in, chime in, sit back, relax, have fun, some smiles, a few laughs.
Hey, hello everyone. Welcome to the show, Jazzy After Dark Artist Talk. I'm your host, Jazzy K Ward. And happy Labor Day to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for welcoming me into your home, in your car, your living rooms, wherever you are. Thank you so much. Our special guest tonight is Pastor Arthur, host, the one and only Kevin E. Taylor. You're in for a special treat. He's simply a motivator, and I'm simply glad to call him a friend. So let's check out what you are in store for tonight, right here on Artist Talk.
As perspective, welcome to my lab. This is Kevin E. Taylor, seriously. Natalie Cole and her influence on my life. That luck is opportunity meets preparation. So that's how I got lucky. The thing, that is always imperative for me is the idea of keeping your mind stayed on the thing you want to do. Is literally the soundscape of our living. Stay ready, get ready. You stay ready, you don't have to get ready. I would answer, they were like, why do you know all this stuff? And my response would be, like, why don't you know it? This is black music. Listen to me, young kings. Young kings, listen and listen close. Your assignment, if you in fact choose to accept it, is to be about the business of your business. But when you know, there it is, so say it with me right now, when you know, you know, you know. The world's light turns on when you get up. Do it in such a way that the enemy of greatness says, oh, damn, he's up. The second you open your eyes, and I promise you, some great things will show up for you when you allow great things to show up for you. Now breathe and get about your business.
Wow, that's the one and only Mr. Kevin E. Taylor, who we're going to have a up close and personal conversation tonight. Of course, Kevin is running a little late. He was stuck in traffic in a car accident. But again, I'm so glad for everyone who is stopping by for the show tonight, and hopefully Kevin will make it. But we want him to be safe. We want him to definitely be safe. I'm Jazzy K Ward, and again, welcome to Jazzy After Dark Artist Talk. And again, thank you for all of you for your support Don't forget to go to kwardradio.com. Please subscribe your email address. I need to capture that tonight. And don't forget to post any comments or questions you have about the show right there in the comments section, and we will do our best to answer any questions that you may have tonight on the show. And the after party will be immediately following this show. So if you're not on IG, go over to Instagram and subscribe. Follow us up there. We'll have a great time. A little conversation, a little music, of course. And we'll talk a little bit more with Kevin E. Taylor. That's right. And this show, you can catch it right here each and every Monday, 7 p.m. For those interested in coming to the show, all you have to do is email me at info@kwardradio.com. Okay. So again, I'm trying to see if we have anyone. We're still waiting here for Kevin on the show, and the show is live. We're actually taping live, and he is definitely on our way. And don't forget to share the video also, and invite your friends also to join us tonight. Okay. And for all those who are interested, I'm sorry, I didn't have one in front of me, but the KWARD radio mask, I would appreciate your support. My Cash App information should be streaming right below the screen here. For any donations that you would like to support the show Jazzy After Dark, thank you so much. All of that information will be listed there on the page. Okay. Again, happy Labor Day to everyone. I'm trying to see if I can see any comments that may come here. And our special guest tonight is Kevin E. Taylor. Hey, Jeffrey, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining. And we're going to be talking tonight. He has so many books out. One of his latest books is Never Too Much. And then he has a new book titled Selfish that we're going to also talk about. And he's been in this industry, the entertainment industry, for over 20 plus years. So this brother has so much insight, motivation to share with us tonight, as well as wisdom. And I'm just so excited to have him join us tonight. Of course, Mr. Kevin E. Taylor. Thank you so much. Hey, Brendan. If you missed the previous shows, go back and watch them. I had a composer, that's right, composer, producer, smooth jazz bassist, Mr. Brendan Rothwell was one of the guests on the show, which was an awesome show. Make sure you go back and catch that as well. Thank you so much for stopping by, Brendan. And thank you for all of those who are joining us tonight. Whether you're in your home, in your living room, hey, you may be chilling out on the bed, on the patio. For all those, happy Labor Day to you. For all those good barbecue, bring Jazzy a little barbecue. Sipping a little wine, enjoy this great conversation as we wait on our special guest tonight, Mr. Kevin E. Taylor. And I've spoken with him, and I know he was a little stuck in traffic. So we're going to have him on here, hopefully, right here on Jazzy After Dark, okay? And don't forget, please share the video. Make sure you get your KWARD radio mask. I have those in black. I have them in red. I have them in blue. I also have them in white, okay? So make sure you can pick up. All you have to do is message me. They're $15 if you're here local, or $20, just $20 if I can mail them to you. Okay, thank you all so much. I appreciate your support just through all the years in radio, supporting this platform. I appreciate each and every one of you for joining us here on Jazzy After Dark Artist Talk. Our special guest tonight, of course, is Kevin E. Taylor. Of course, he's a pastor, a host, an author. Like, how does this man do all of this? How does he do all of this that he does? So we're going to have that up close and personal conversation with Kevin tonight, right here. Okay. I think Kevin is here.
I'm
Oh,
here. I'm here.
my friend, you made it.
Man, it's Labor Day, and I don't know how they doing in Birmingham, in the
It's
South. In up here, they treating it like, so I passed two really bad accidents, but by the
well,
grace of God, I'm here.
we wanted you to be safe.
And I want you to have, exceptional programming like you always do. So,
Right.
but no pullover in dark cars for me. So I'm going to give you
Right.
what you do, King.
Again, Kevin E.T., welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you, good sir. I am honored. I am honored indeed.
I'm honored indeed. So, how was your Labor Day? And again, happy birthday to you.
Thank you. So Friday was my birthday.
Right.
Yesterday was my birthday celebration service and my son's girlfriend's baby shower, where she became his fiance. So he proposed as well. So
congratulations to you.
yeah,
Congratulations to you. So I'm so glad, again, everyone. My special guest tonight is Mr. Kevin E. Taylor, author, host. This Kevin, you have so many titles. Like, how do you have time to fit all of this in?
So I'm a left-handed Virgo, and so ministry has within it decency and right order. And I know oftentimes people can think I'm really busy, but it's pockets of busy. Books get written, you kind of get in place and write the books, and programming is live and sermons are Sunday, what I mean? So it's just a way to kind of utilize time to the fullest. So, I mean, while, this is tight, it's often not a tight, tedious thing for me. It's very much kind of, I'm doing the 11-11 from this to this, and then this to this, and then this to this. You choreograph in the space to breathe and live a good life, and somehow it works out. And you end up in pictures with Anita Baker and Patti LaBelle and Natalie Cole, and it just
wow. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. We
got all the time you need, King.
when I think about you have been in this business for over 20 plus years, and we're going to talk about that tonight on the show. But I wanted to shift gears just a little bit, just to actually, Kevin, with the pandemic going on, and it has affected all of us.
Yeah,
it has affected all of us. So you and your family during this time.
Thank you.
Has this helped you? For me, again, I'm definitely a introvert, so I'm definitely. But it's given me a lot of time, Kevin, to work on a lot of things that I had kind of placed on the shelf a little bit. So how have you been coping?
So I'm an introvert, but I'm an extroverted introvert. So I'm a person, and called to do outward things, but really this is cocooning time. So, during COVID, I came up with 11-11 out of 11 to bring people on and have conversations with them. During COVID, I almost finished a new book. So it's been an opportunity to really kind of cocoon, be still, be centered, and then, kind of here. I've created new space where I live. I got nice, office laid out. So I'm grateful to have kind of prospered in the capacity for me to ramp down, but so has the world. You know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't people always like this and me trying to be like, y'all calm down. Everybody's gonna, okay, calm down. And so, I know a number of people who have birthed things during this COVID pandemic because they needed the space to breathe,
To breathe. So when thinking about 11-11-11. Tell me about the show.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And tell us 11-11-11, because someone asked me, what does that mean?
So it's 11-11 at 11. What happens is every day I go live at 11 o'clock. I talk for 11 minutes and 11 seconds. That's warming up the audience. That's engagement. That's talking about anything that's on my heart or in the community. And then at 11-11, I pull in someone to talk about music, ministry, artistry, athleticism, activism. And it was birthed out of this kind of clarion call in Black Lives Matter to support Black people, support Black business, support each other. And I realized that a number of people didn't know how to do that. They just kind of post, I write, here's my book, and didn't tag anybody in it, didn't do anything. And having, as we do, this kind of marketing, broadcast, background, what I thought was, hey, I have a media production company where I've often been called to do artists, EPKs, electronic press kits. So if I bring somebody on to talk about what they do, if we talk for 11 minutes and 11 seconds, they end up essentially with a solid EPK. And so at first it was literally a sister in Georgia who sells essential oils and pet mints. And then the next day it was a friend of mine who's a jazz singer in Paris. The next day it was a brother who does production in New York. Then he introduced me to a makeup maven in California. And then people started recommending people. And so it became the way to the tagline I have is 11, 11, 11, to put people with people so people know people. And so there's no longer, I wonder where the black lawyers, I can never find a good designer. And so I'm trying to pull some of everyone in so that by the time we finish, we have this archive of, I know a designer, a jewelry maker, you know what I mean? Because otherwise the talk about supporting each other is hyperbole if you don't even know each other.
Gotcha. Okay.
And I wanted to do that because, I've been blessed to have, I was on with Eva Marcel from Real Housewives of Atlanta this weekend. The Friday before that, I had Angela Robinson Whitehurst, a.k.a. Veronica Harrington from Haves and the Have-Nots. And so Gordon Chambers has been on. So it's to have a pocket of people where people go, ooh, and then fit them in between.
Right.
So it's like, wait, my favorite actress was on yesterday and I'm on today?
And
that kind of thing, and it also keeps people guessing, so they tune in to see who's on today.
And who's on today? And people were so excited, Kevin. It's like, oh wow, Kevin E. Taylor. I love him. I mean, you can't help but love Kevin E. Taylor. Like,
I'm grateful. And
we're just so grateful to have you on the platform, Kevin. And just for those who may not know you, can you just tell us a little bit? I know your family based out of Mississippi. Is that
so? My mom was born and raised in Edwards, in Vicksburg, Mississippi. My mom, at 16, moved to Washington, D.C., where I was born and raised. One of 7 children of Louise Taylor and Lee Williams. The first to go to college, came back down south to Greensboro, North Carolina, to Guilford College to attend university, where I majored in, wait for it, English, Spanish, and accounting. Was working for the DC government for 8.5 years. At about 26, was like, I don't know what to do. I'm bored, and ended up leaving my good government job, finding my way after a little bit of time at a temp agency. The temp agency took me into Black entertainment television. And I was, like many people be like, oh my God, I work at BET. If God ever does anything else for me, that's enough. The next year, my boss was like, I feel like I'm going to lose you because, I've been in offices since I was 14. This stuff, they think in the entertainment industry takes a long time. I was doing reports that she would give me a week for in hours because I type 104 words a minute, and because that helps you do those reports. And so she said, what's it going to do I want to keep you because I feel like I'm going to lose you. And I was like, I saw this job description for the record label liaison and music researcher. I want this job. And she's like, they were worried that it was a payola position because you send the playlist out, you get the videos in. And I was like, so she was like, we never filled that job because we were worried that it was the payola position. I was like, but I do all this stuff anyway as your assistant. She's like, whoop, you got me there. So she promoted me to that. The next year she went on maternity leave, and Cindy Mahmoud, so there was Lydia Cole, and then the woman who came in behind her, Cindy Mahmoud, who called me into her office, and she was like, we got an interview scheduled with Natalie Cole. Go home and write some questions. I was like, oh my God. And then I come back with the questions the next day, and she reads some things she didn't know about. And then she says, you know what? We've decided who's doing the interview. And I thought she was going to say Donnie Simpson. And she said, you're doing the interview. I said, wait, for what show? And she literally said, I don't know, create it because you got something. And so literally I created a show called Lyrically Speaking. Lyrically Speaking hit the air with Natalie Cole, and I thought, Black Music Month special, I'm done. Luther Vandross saw it and said, hey, I want to do that show. And then Luther begat Anita Baker, Lena Horne. I interviewed Patti LaBelle and Stevie Wonder in the same week. I flew to Germany and Copenhagen with Tina Turner, and it just became, the Lyrically Speaking and access granted and video link and specials. And I just have, there's me and Anita Baker, during that Lyrically Speaking interview. There is Patti LaBelle over my other shoulder at her home. That's me and Christopher Williams from Music Inside Out. It just become this, just been blessed and grateful every day for the opportunity. I've sat down with Sade and, you know, and I remember the Sade because Sade had the same manager as Tina Turner. And he was pretty impressed with the Tina interview. And he's like, let me go get Sade ready for you. And I was like, ready for me? And then when he comes down, they had this list of things she wasn't going to talk about.
Okay.
And so I'm like, Sade, before we get started, you know, not on camera, anything, I have to tell you a story. Royal Albert Hall, December 19th, 1985. You and the group were just starting your world tour, and you did, and then you did, and then you did, and then you did, and then you left, and you came back to do Is It a Crime and No Ordinary Love, and you left, and the audience called you back for another encore, and you said, I don't know what to do, and I said, then a young black boy said, please do Jezebel, and she went, oh, that was you. I said, you don't remember me. She said, I never saw your face, but after that, you sat on the floor. On the floor, I promise you, I never forgot you. Ask me anything you want. And Roger was like, no, we got a whole list of things we told people all day they couldn't ask. And she answered everything. And Stephen Hill was like, how in the hell did you do that? I said, but so many people have gotten wrong in the music industry, you know, in the journalism side of it, especially, is that we want to be so prepared and so stalwart and so matter of fact and trying to scoop that we forget to be fans.
Right.
Every time that I've sat with somebody that where they've really opened up, Tina Turner and Natalie, is the whole idea that I'm talking to somebody who knows me and is not afraid to say, I remember time we watched Soul Train and you came on and said, you know what I mean? And those moments, I remember the time I saw you at DRR Constitution Hall and you were with Eugene Wow, you know what I mean? And then it becomes like, oh, you know me. You didn't have to research me. And so that has begot what will be next year, a 30-year career of being able to sit with giants.
Right. So, you know, Kevin,
let me tell you this real quick. Twice, not once, twice, Jazzy, I have been the meat. I was playing Nancy. This is going to be name dropping for the gods. I was playing Nancy Wilson's assistant for the weekend because she was doing an event for BET, and we were at Mr. Johnson's house where Natalie Cole showed up, but I didn't know it. So she's behind me. She covers my eye. I turn around. She said, "Oh my God, I didn't know you would be here." And I was like, "How did you recognize me?" And then she reaches over to hug Nancy without letting go of me. So I'm the meat on a Natalie Cole Nancy Wilson sandwich, like oh. And then at Nabob one year, I was at Muhammad Ali's table, then went backstage to say hi to Stevie because I was his guest, Stevie Wonder, because I did my lyrically speaking with him. And Michael Jackson showed up. And while he was hugging me, he reached to hug Michael. So I was the meat on a Michael Jackson Stevie Wonder sandwich. I was like, what?
Wow, Kevin. I mean, did you ever see yourself, you know, with Natalie Cole, Nancy, any of these people?
If God had just done Natalie Cole, look. If God had just done Natalie Cole, wait, I'm just moving. If God had just done Natalie Cole, right? This is 1993.
I love her. Yeah.
Wait, if God had just done me and Natalie Cole, I would never ask for another thing ever. So the fact that Nancy Wilson, Anita Baker, you know, that I played roles in the, you know, like. I remember sitting at my desk and somebody in the entertainment section was listening to some music. I was like, what is that? And he's like, yeah, they're trying to get us to do a piece on this guy. And I take the CD in this white cover with a shoe on the cover and listen to it. I was like, oh my God, this music is amazing. So I called Columbia Records. I was like, yeah, this guy, do you have any video on him? And she's like, yeah. So I wanted a copy of the album so I could give it back. And then I was like, is there any video on him? You know, because I wanted something to support because we're Black entertainment television. She goes, yeah, there's a video for the first single, but we can't get it to get any traction. So she sends me the music video for Till the Cops Come Knocking. And BET starts playing Maxwell in heavy rotation when he's barely cracking the top 75 on radio.
Wow.
So to be able to have moments like that, Lil Brandy, you like my album, while she's laying on the couch and her mom's meeting with my boss and I'm trying to keep her entertained. I see Brandy, hey, Uncle Kevin.
Right. Just, you know, I mean, that has just truly been, I'm sure, a blessing for God. And, you know, I love one of your sayings you always say, you are God's child.
And so, you know, there's so many of us struggle. You know, there's somebody right now struggle to put the song together, struggling to figure out how to keep their voice in the midst of pandemic, and the performances have gone away, and they think if they go live, it's not enough. Hey, I'm God's kid, and there is no way that God brought me this far to leave me. Natalie Cole asked me once, like, how are you so focused, you know? So I'm a gay identified man. I'm also a preacher. Somebody got some stuff with that. Me and God don't. And so she said, how are you so okay about your orientation? and your ministry. And when Natalie asked me that, well, God dropped right in my seat to say it. God said, say it. God keeps on doing great things for me, and God knows it's me. Right? So people are like, God want to affirm. I was like, so is that Anita Baker's platinum plaque there? Is that Jaheim? Is that Crystal Waters? Is that Natalie Cole over there? Is that okay? So God is doing all this stuff, and God knows it's me. You can talk all the talk you want. Me and God, we're good.
And God, you're good.
There's an audacity that it takes to be who we are as musicians, as artists, as creative. There's an audacity because it says that there's a song that is supposed to be sung that doesn't exist. That there's a style, there's a presence, there's a something missing that we're called to do. And it takes nerve to open your spirit to offer something out. A new show. Wait, for 55 million households? Are you kidding me? And so it takes a certain kind of energy, and I believe a certain kind of connection to dare to create.
Yeah, that's true. So, I mean, Kevin, with you being a pastor, with someone just watching, us tonight, who may be struggling, I can say myself, I struggle with, identity, finding my place, finding a platform, identifying who any words of wisdom.
Let me tell you something. So when I said to Natalie, God keeps on doing great things for me and God knows it's me, sometimes people are like, oh, that's wonderful and parenthetical. That's really nice. Then I tell them on August 25th, 2001, I was with Aaliyah and the crew that died that day. I was supposed to be on that plane and got on an earlier flight because Gina Smith, forgive me, Gina, I was thinking of the actress, Gina Smith, who was with Black Ground Records, said, Lily really kind of needs her privacy. And I was like, and I don't shoot on the plane. I don't need to be on the same plane with her. So she wrote a new itinerary for me while we were still in Miami and changed my flight. So I got to Baltimore early. And by the time we went from Bahamas to Miami to Baltimore, went to dinner. And by the time I got back from dinner, people I had spent 3 days with were gone. I had to go through all of the media madness of having been the person who was supposed to be on that plane and having in my hands the last footage of not just Aaliyah, but her hairdresser, her makeup artist, And so all of that, going through the funeral and all of the madness of that, BET gave me a week off. The next week, they were like, are you okay? Are you ready to shoot? Yes. I can't get lost. I can't get scared. I can't lose my faith. And so on Tuesday, September 11th, that was the next time I got on a flight, and my creative director, Penny McDonald from BET, put me on a flight out of Newark, and the travel did, and she was like, this is ridiculous. You live in Harlem. Let me change this. And so the flight she took me off of is the one that crashed in the Tower 2.
Oh, my God.
So in 18 days, God says, listen. Listen. And so when people talk to me about faith stuff, and they have these issues with who we are and how we are, again, God knew it was me, and God said, son, I just need to pluck you off of here. God, I just need you to move here because you got a mouth big enough to tell people this. Some people wouldn't. You do.
Right. I mean, when you talk about God's grace and mercy, I remember seeing footage of the Aaliyah, but I had no idea, as we're talking now, that you were.
My next flight was 18 days later. On Tuesday, September 11th. I was on an American Airlines flight.
Wow.
Remember, they were taking out United, American, anything that sounded American and patriotic. That's what they were destroying. And so I still remember to this day, ladies and gentlemen, there has been some sort of domestic, there's been some sort of something against American Airlines, American flight, he said American flights or American Airlines. I don't remember, but I remember when we landed in Kansas City, the tarmacs were like a parking lot at a mall. You know what I mean? It was like, put us down, get them off. Put us down, get them off. Put us down, get them off.
Okay.
And then you ended up, luckily, the crew from the Michael Jackson 30th anniversary that was at Madison Square Gardens on September 9th was on my plane and included a brother friend that I worked at BET who is now working for CBS. And he's like, he found me in the airport because we seen each other on the flight. He's like, Kev, we're driving to LA. We got one seat left. Do you want to come? And I was like, yes, because I couldn't imagine being in the middle of Kansas City, in the middle of the worst terrorist attack in American history by myself. But, thanks be to God, I didn't have to be.
Right. What a blessing. Again, everyone, I'm JAZZIE.
Right, John Foster, but God. Exactly.
But God.
And I don't care what anybody says about the height of me, the orientation of me, the thick of me, the gospel of me. If it had not been for the Lord on my side, it would have been another way. So I make people mad by that kind of conviction. Oh well.
All you can say is hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Anyhow.
Hallelujah. Again, everyone, I'm Jazzie K. Ward, your host for Artist Talk. My special guest is Kevin E. Taylor, and we're going to take a break and show you a snippet of some of his awesome work right here on JAZZIE After Dark. We'll be right back.
So let's deal with some of those Sade urban myths, as we like to call them. The hang on to your love.
Love it was actually.
Hang on to your love.
I've lost mine.
Did it happen?
No, I did. What happened in Frankfurt was, what happened was on that tour, it was a very long and grueling tour, and I was tired and not well physically, and I was physically exhausted, and I actually made it, I think, to more or less to the end of the set. I felt really like I was going to pass out. I'd been to my father's funeral in Nigeria and cut out a lot of rehearsal time and come straight back. So it was a very strange place for me, you know, to go to my father's funeral in Nigeria and then to just fly back and then go out on tour. It was very weird because I hadn't really sort of realized what had happened and slowed down and looked back, and there was no time for reflection.
The real what the brothers are tripping on for you is probably not even so much the sex appeal, it's lyrics. Come on now. I mean, how did you find the space to go into you and bring those lyrics out? Whenever, wherever, whatever, Lonely's the only company. Come on, brother.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, it's like, once again, it falls in line with, you know, trying to be as soon as you can, in tune as you can possibly be. And truly, just having respect for the power that's higher than you.
Wow. We're back. Just a catalog of all of this greatness from this man, Kevin E. Taylor, you know, pastor, host, you know, author. And, you know, Kevin, when, you know, I look back at that and I look at your catalog of so much greatness. And I'm just so happy to be able to call you a friend somewhere in there, just to be able to call
my friend. Ain't no somewhere that you're my friend.
Okay. A friend, you know, just reach out because you're such a motivator. You know, I can send you a message or send you a text and a message, hey, you know, Kevin, how do you go here to this place? Where do you get this from? And, you know, your passion and your drive, where does Kevin E. Taylor, what is your truth? What is the truth about that?
Listen, I saw so many lectures off with, I was born a fat, black, asthmatic, gay nerd in the projects of Washington, D.C. And I thought about those things almost every day of my childhood. Mm-hmm. So it made me realize who I am and what I'm made of, you know. the story of my great love affair with Natalie Cole is that nerd boy found a dictionary in the trash when I was in the project and literally used to read words like obsequious, recalcitrant. I was saying stuff like that at 11 and 12 in the projects. And one day, I'm sitting at home. My asthma kept me inside, when my brothers were outside playing. So I was watching the Merv Griffin show. And, he said, my guest today will be Robert Mitchum, who's an actor, Robert Hedges, who played Epstein on a show called Welcome Back, Kotter. And he said, and rising young singer, Natalie Cole. And I knew Natalie Cole sounded like Nat King Cole. And so she was going to be black. This is 75. Ooh, black people on TV. And when she came out, she did This Will Be. And then he sat her down to talk and he asked her when she started singing. And she said, my junior year of college. I'm sorry, what? Your what? Junior year of college. College? Black people can go to college? Because I had seen Room 222, so I knew what college was. And even though that dude Lance was on there being a professor, I didn't know we could go there. I thought those people in that thing could go there. And so I'm thinking she put college in my brain. And he said, so talk about your new project. And she said, my new album's called Inseparable. I'm sorry, what? Inseparable.
Right.
When we were kids, I'm older than you. We had to know how to spell it, define it, and use it in a sentence. So I'm looking at the album cover. So define it. Ooh, my dictionary. Never separated, bound together in an internal connection. Ooh. What does it mean, though? Right. She says we're like a flower to a tree, like words to a melody. Natalie Cole blew between Natalie Cole's Inseparable, Joey, There's No Pot of Gold at the End of the Rainbow, and Stevie Wonder's Ass. By the time I was 12, I think they changed the structure of my brain molecules because I began to feel like I had permission to be okay reading and writing, and Nikki Giovanni and James Baldwin and Maya Angelou was just stuff that I talked about because I was okay now that if black people can use these words, then I can use all the words I wanted anywhere, anyway. You sound white. I sound like James Baldwin. I sound like Maya Angelou. Those are the lyrics to a Stevie Wonder song, and Stevie ain't white. And so it just gave me this permission to be my kind of black, Right. My friends still marvel at the fact that I made some of my first friends, some of my closest friends in elementary school because I could say hugging and squeezing and kissing and pleasing together forever through rain and whatever love. So long as I'm living true love, I'll be giving to you. I'll be serving. It's just to deserve it. Because they used to go ba 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 ba. I was like, no, these are the words. And they'd be like, say them again. And so music and words have played this real role, in shaping the way I show up in the world.
Right.
And so anybody that dared to use words, I was drawn to. It was part of why I was drawn to Mariah Carey when she says, suffered from alienation, carried the weight on my own. I was like, ooh, and I remember somebody saying, well, she must be white because she said alienation. I was like, you don't know what that means? It's something for disconnection. I don't understand what you're saying. You know what I mean? So It was always come on, y'all. We remember how many of us sat around with fulfilling this finest finale. We were like, ooh, say that real fast. It just has always played a word. And that boy ended up going to college. That boy ended up, being called, here, come speak. And they were like, you didn't give any chance to prepare. And the words came out. That boy got to sit down with artists and talk to them with this mouth. And they were like, I've never met anybody like you. So talking to Anita Baker for Lyrically Speaking, after we shot some B-roll footage at her function at Capriani's in New York, as she was walking out, she says, darling, you're going to be writing the bio for my new album. I was like, what? Right. And then the label calls and they're like, have you ever written a bio? And I was like, Miss Baker didn't ask me that. When she asked me to write it, it'll be ready on Tuesday. And then when I wrote it, the woman from the PR department called and said, see, this is why we don't use non-professionals to do something this important, because you don't know that you can't insert this Maya Angelou poem at the top of this bio talking about the rhythm of love. I said that would be pertinent if that were a Maya Angelou poem, but I wrote it based on the song Rhythm of Love. The next thing you know, the woman who doubted me hired to do 3 other projects. And so it just became more and more evident that if I show up in my fullness, a lot of people know this, my friends know this. I got my job at BET because I was sitting interviewing with Lydia N. Cole, and she had me, asked me about 38 minutes worth of questions. And then she said, do you have any questions? I said, just one. She said, what does the N stand for? She said, I'm sorry. I said, God told me if your middle initial N stands for Natalie, and I'd be working for Lydia Natalie Cole, Natalie Cole's my favorite singer, so that's the sign that I'm supposed to be here. She said, do you actually believe that? I said, yes, ma'am, I do. It's all I've got. And she said, well, welcome to BET because I'm Lydia Natalie Cole. And she said, what's funny is when most women marry, they made their maiden name their middle initial. But she liked Natalie so much, she kept it when she married Dr. Reginald Cole.
Oh, wow. Wow. I mean, that's simply amazing, Kevin. And also when you were talking about writing, when I think about your other books like Jaded, Uncluttered, Because He Lives, It's Time for Some Action. Get off your ass and do something. Meet the Hendersons. Right. These phenomenal books. Your latest book you're working on, Selfish.
So I feel like one of the things, Jazzy, that this season has brought up for a lot of us who have been the strong friend, the always responsible one, the multitasker, that one in your family always going, is that people, we wouldn't give ourselves permissions to stop and take care of ourselves, and neither would other people.
Right.
You would call and say you were in duress. You would call and say that you needed a minute, and they would still turn the conversation into you. You would say you were tired, and they would still say, but I need you, and we're the doers. And so I just started to realize that people saying that you were selfish when you couldn't do for them was some self-ish, right? And so it's the unpacking of all the self stuff, the self-deprecation, the self-esteem, the self-confidence, the self-sabotage, all of the self-stops that stops us from taking the best care of ourselves. And so its full title is Selfish. Get full of yourself without guilt. It's like at the end of the day, everything and everybody that swears they need you so much needs you on your A game. So it's really the conversation of getting yourself on your priority list and then at the top of it. Because if you are so important to other people, they need to give you a day to lick your wounds and not answer your phone. They need to give you the day to do what you need in self-care and get your nails and your feet done in the massage. And you need to give it to yourself and stop believing that if I don't get it, if I don't do it, it won't get done thing that causes so many of us to push ourselves till we pass out.
Right. Blessing. And your last book, Never Too Much. And all of these books, tell us, Kevin, for those watching, how they can go purchase the book.
KevinETaylor.com. That's where you'll find them. If you look for Kevin E. Taylor, I use the E, Kevin E. Taylor, because when I was in 8th grade, they called Kevin Taylor to the principal's office and 3 of us showed up. And since then, I've been Kevin E. Taylor. And so, so you go to KevinETaylor.com and they're all there.
They're all there. Again, Kevin, thank you so much. Again, we're right out of time, my friend. And we want you to come back on the show.
Listen, I'll start earlier to be here. We were running late because it's Labor Day, and I live in Newark, New Jersey, just off of a highway. And I was like, how tonight is this highway this congested? And it wasn't. It was a really bad accident. So I owe you. So you tell me when, and I got you.
I appreciate it. But you're going to hang out with us at
I'm hanging, swanging, and rang-tang-tanging.
So, hey, guys, for those watching, we're going to go over to IG, Instagram, over there. With Kevin E. Taylor, now what, right? And we're going to just listen to some music, have a little bit more conversation. Again, and Kevin, before you go, I wanted to ask you one last question. What is the best advice, just in life general, that you've been given that you could share with us before we leave?
Ooh, I have heard, so I'll give you two quick. So the best advice that I've ever heard given to me was the idea that I had to be myself. The way I translated it is what I say now, and that is do you. All the other spots are taken. But the best advice came from Luther, like the idea that my being is never too much. But the best advice I've ever heard was Nancy Wilson, who said you can hide your head, but your feet will show, which keeps me on track to pay attention and check in with my gut every day. You can hide your head and act like you don't know what's going on, but something will expose itself. That was the best kind of advice that keeps my discernment wide open.
Thank you so much, my friend,
for
your words, your wisdom, your inspiration. And again, it's a blessing, and I'm just truly in awe, and I've taken in everything that you have brought to this platform tonight. And I just want to say thank you. I love you.
I love you. You know that.
I will see you at the after party.
Oh, we did it the same way that time. So now
we did it. We did it the same way, my friend. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Absolutely, King. I'll meet you there.
Thank you. Again, everyone, I'm Jazzy K. Ward. Thank you so much. My special guest tonight was pastor, author, host, Mr. Kevin E. Taylor. I'm your host, Jazzy K. Ward. And don't forget, on next Monday will be my special guest, jazz guitarist, composer, Mr. Frank Primbo. And don't forget, every Monday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, right here. And I'll see you over at the after party, okay?
Jazzy K. Ward. Artist Talk. Jazzy After Dark. Artist Talk. Artist Talk.